All right, so tonight we're doing something a little different. We're not getting into any heavy theories or anything like that. Instead, I've got a story for you, and trust me, it's a terrifying one. A ghostly encounter that might just make you, reconsider taking that last bus home.
Because, as this story is going to show, sometimes the most normal, everyday things like your commute home can take a turn for the absolutely horrifying. So, let's get into it.
Okay, so our story kicks off, as so many creepy stories do, on a dark, rainy night. So, let's meet our main character, Tushar. The guy's had a super long day at the office, he's totally drained, and all he wants is to just get home. Of course, it's pouring rain, he sees the last bus, and it's starting to pull away. So he just bolts, sprinting through the downpour, heart hammering in his chest. He's banging on the side of the bus, and right as it's about to take off for good, the doors hiss open. He scrambles on, totally soaked, out of breath, but man is he relieved. He makes his way to his go-to spot, that corner seat by the window. And he looks around, and the bus is just empty, completely empty. It's a little weird, almost too quiet, but he just chalks it up to the bad weather, figures everyone else went home early. He leans his head against the glass, watching the city lights smear and blur in the rain. And, between the rocking of the bus and how exhausted he is, he starts to drift off.
But that relief he was feeling? Yeah, that doesn't last long. It's about to get replaced by some serious, unsettling confusion.
Tushar just can't fight it. You know that feeling. His eyelids are just so heavy, he closes them for what feels like maybe a minute or two. Just a quick little power nap. Then, something wakes him up with a jolt. He opened his eyes, and whoa! The bus that was totally empty? It's now packed. Standing room only, people in every single seat. He's completely thrown, thinking to himself, wow, a huge crowd must have all gotten on at one stop. I must have been so out of it I didn't even hear them. So he kind of shakes his head, closes his eyes again for just a second to try and clear the fog. He opens them, and it's silent. Everyone is gone. The bus is empty. Again. But here's the thing. He knows for a fact the bus never stopped. There was no stop. There was nowhere for an entire busload of people to go, and that is when the real fear, that cold, creeping dread, starts to set in. Seriously, where did they all go? This is the question just screaming in Tushar's head. Look, being tired can make you a little loopy. Maybe you see things in the corner of your eye. But can it make an entire bus full of people materialize and then just vanish? His rational mind is trying to find an answer, but it's losing the fight against the sheer terror that's taking over. And right at that moment, when he's starting to think he might actually be going crazy, he gets a visitor. Someone who seems to know exactly what's going on. All of a sudden, this really sharp, specific smell fills the air. It's a bidi, which is a kind of hand-rolled cigarette. Tushar turns his head and his heart practically leaps into his throat. Because sitting right next to him, in a seat that was absolutely empty a second ago, is an old man. His face is just covered in wrinkles. And his eyes look like they can see right through the dark, right into your soul. The old man takes a slow drag from his bidi, and then he speaks. His voice is this low, scratchy whisper. He says, 30 years, son. For 30 years I've ridden this bus. And then he leans in and says, after midnight, no human dares to board. Oof, chills. And then he tells Tushar his own story. Says about a year ago, a rainy night, just like this one, he got on this same bus. It was empty. But then he noticed a man staring at him. And this guy had these just empty, lifeless eyes. This man pointed right at him, whispered, you shouldn't be here. And then poof, he was gone, vanished. Now, Tushar, he tries to brush it off, right? It sounds like some old campfire story. He's telling himself, it's just the late hour, I'm exhausted, it's the rain. But you put that story together with the whole disappearing crowd thing, and yeah, that little seed of doubt has been planted. He just can't shake this awful feeling. His mind is just racing, but his body is so tired. The exhaustion and confusion went out, and he drifts off to sleep one more time. Big mistake, because this is when things go from creepy to downright horrifying. He wakes up suddenly again. The bus is dead quiet. The old man? Gone. Tushar looks around the empty bus, and his eyes lock onto one person, way up at the front. It's a man, and he's reading a newspaper. Now think about that. It's 1 a.m. Who on earth is casually reading a newspaper on a ghost bus in the middle of the night?
This deep unease just washes over Tushar. He can't see the man's face. It's hidden by the paper. And the guy is perfectly still. But Tushar can just feel it. He feels like he's being watched. Every alarm bell in his head is going off, screaming that something is very, very wrong with this guy.
Tushar is just frozen, staring. And then, ever so slowly, the newspaper starts to come down.
He wants to scream, but nothing comes out. The face behind that paper is something out of a nightmare. It's soaked in blood. Part of his skull is crushed in, like he's been in a terrible wreck. And his eyes, they're the same empty, dead eyes the old man talked about. And they are locked right onto Tushar.
Tushar slams his eyes shut, and when he forces them open again, it's gone. The face is normal. The guy's just a guy, smiling at him. No blood, no crushed skull, nothing. He even asks Tushar if he's okay and offers him some water. So now Tushar's really spinning. Did he imagine it? Is he finally completely losing his mind? But then the man says something that confirms it wasn't a dream. It confirms Tushar's absolute worst fears, and it leads to a desperate escape and a final, horrifying truth.
The man's friendly smile just vanishes. He looks at Tushar and says, "Don't stay here." And then, like in the blink of an eye, he's gone from his seat and is standing at the open door of the moving bus. He just leaps out. Tushar hears this horrible crash and a scream. And that's it. He's had enough. The bus starts to slow down for the next stop, and Tushar doesn't even think. He just bolts. He flies out the door and back into the rain.
So he's standing there on the sidewalk, totally drenched, shaking, just watching the bus pull away. But as he's watching, the bus starts to change right before his eyes. It's not a normal bus anymore. It's a mangled, burnt-out wreck, like the ghost of a terrible crash. And looking through the broken-out windows, he can see them all. The silent, ghostly figures of the passengers, including the old man and the man with the newspaper, all of them just watching him as the phantom bus disappears into the night.
Tushar got out. He was one of the lucky ones. He got the warning, and he took it. But that leaves you with one last really chilling question, doesn't it? That bus runs every single night. It's out there, picking up tired, unsuspecting people just trying to get home. So what happens to the ones who don't get a warning? What happens to the poor souls who stay on that bus all the way to the end of the line?